Minecraft gets worse the more you play it. This is a statement I stand by and think applies to the vast majority of people, aside from a few select speedrunners, challenge runners, and of course YouTubers. So, is the problem with us? Have we just outgrown the world we enjoyed so much as kids? Or is there something fundamentally wrong with the development direction Mojang has taken in recent years? Heaven knows we've both changed over the years. Minecraft, kind of like a person, has had its infancy and its awkward stages, rebirths and renaissances. Think back to the first time you booted up the game. Maybe you were playing with friends or family. If you're as old as me, it was probably during the beta. Minecraft was a much simpler game, but that was part of the charm. What kept you playing wasn't the endless amount of new mechanics, although that came with the addition of mods. It was the restricted amount of mechanics that allowed players and YouTubers to create their own fun. Then came the dreaded 3-week phases. Years later, you want to return to Minecraft. So you boot up a server with your friends, and for the first few days everything's good. Everyone is relearning how to play, reveling in the joy of playing the game again. But then you beat the game. You kill the Ender Dragon, get full enchanted armor, go to the end, explore end cities, build your endgame house, and then what's next? Sooner or later you leave the game, and maybe we'll come back to it next year. And the cycle repeats. But this time you beat the game a little faster, you get bored a little quicker, and the cycle repeats again. So you rush to beat the game before realizing that it was the process of completing the game, not the achievement and goal that gave you the enrichment. Spending hours building a house and a farm before you've even got diamonds, that slow pace is what makes every achievement feel special. But without knowing it, we've been cheating ourselves out of the best of what Minecraft has to offer. All we have left is a graveyard of worlds and dead servers filled with unfulfilled ambition. I've been watching YouTubers like Slushy Noobs recently, and what I realized was, the less you know about Minecraft, the more it actually has to offer. The naivety and not knowing is part of the fun. In a world where anyone can become a decently good player. I mean, just look at the speedrun boards for Minecraft. There's like 1 million people on there. Amateurism in itself has become a novelty, which makes sense. I mean, the etymology of the word amateur comes from the Latin, meaning love. Perhaps that's what people are looking for today. Less skill, knowledge, and abundance, but a passionately curated, community-fulfilling, engaging, and simple experience that allows you to impose your own personality and, unique take as well. Recently, there's been an emergence of what I would call like subtractive gameplay, which I see as an attempt to fill this niche. Minimalist challenges and game modes where people purposely restrict themselves and what they can do in Minecraft to create a more enriching experience. And this varies from like skyblock challenges to no hit, no death, hardcore, or controller restricted challenges. This, alongside with the rising popularity of like older versions of Minecraft playthroughs, seems to go against Mojang's current maximalist policy. So has Mojang gotten out of touch with its own player base? The backlash to the recent Sulphur Caves update would seem to say so. We can see this when we scroll through Reddit threads. One user posted, "A new cave biome is, or at least should be, really hyped, because wow, new cave biome. Also, the sulfur and cinnabar block sets they showed, personally love those, and would probably go collect them for some walls, floors in my base in the next time I play a vanilla world, which unfortunately would probably only be years from now when it feels like they add something big. Last time I played vanilla was caves and cliffs. Haven't had enough of a reason to play vanilla again since. I'm practically waiting for enough drops to release and stack up content to make it worth enough with all the changes from 6 to 8 drops together. And the new Sulphur Cube mob, sure it's cute, but I don't see myself having any reason to use it unless I can convince the friend group to start a Minecraft server again after the drop. When you base your game's success on consistent updates and growth, you imitate this sort of capitalist speculative market of expectations. Everything has to go up. This creates an inflation of expectations that sooner or later you're going to fail to meet. Seems Mojang has touched a nerve, showing a fundamental misunderstanding of the player base. I think the problem here is a general exhaustion felt, not just among the Minecraft player base, but among younger media consumers. In a world where you can consume infinite variations of media at a higher rate than ever before. Games that seek to improve simply by just adding blur into the background. All these colors and trends blend together to make a confusing beige nothingness. This submerges us in an anxiety that Soren Kierkegaard describes as the dizziness of freedom. There's something the philosopher Herbert Simon pointed to when he said, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." The more options we have, the less capacity we have to meaningfully engage with any of them. So instead of feeling enriched, we feel scattered. John Baudrillard, who wrote about the overwhelming nature of modern media, warned that when we're flooded with endless images and input, scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels, or just even YouTube Shorts, reality itself starts to feel diluted. People also seem to be reacting negatively to the dehumanization and general depersonalization of the media we consume. When previously a small group of YouTubers curated your everyday watch time, the emergence of AI and the complete influx of massive amounts of media as online space has grown means that what you watch becomes less and less tied to individual creators and personalities. The contemporary information environment is defined by unprecedented scale, speed, and accessibility. Digital platforms distribute vast quantities of content continuously, and as algorithms prioritize engagement, recency over personalization, this results in what researchers often describe as an information overload, where the volume of this available material exceeds someone's capacity to meaningfully process it. This condition reflects earlier philosophical concerns about the relationship between knowledge and meaning. Look at Friedrich Nietzsche observing, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." This emphasizes the importance of coherent purpose. When we're in an environment saturated with so many competing narratives and perspectives, establishing such coherence becomes increasingly difficult. An abundance of information doesn't necessarily produce understanding. Instead, it can fragment our attention and dilute the significance and meaning and joy we garner from the media we consume. The rise of artificial intelligence also complicates the structure of media production. When you look at AI systems that can generate text, image, and videos at a scale that's been impossible in the years beforehand, and while they can replicate styles and tones, this increased efficiency and accessibility also contributes to what John Baudrillard describes as a world with more and more information and less meaning. This content that's become reproducible and detached from individual ownership blurs distinctions between original expression and a synthetic output, devaluing everything all at once. At the same time, we look at patterns of media consumption, and they've shifted. Historically, audiences often engage consistently with particular creators. You know, your favorite YouTuber, your favorite TikToker. I mean, look at the classics. Dan TDM, Captain Sparkles, Stampy Longhead, Ethos Lab, Skydoes Minecraft, Yogscast. When we followed these YouTubers and creators consistently, we formed sustained relationships that gave us identifiable and individual perspectives. In contrast, when we look at modern platforms, the encouraged fragmented consumption across a wide range of sources leads users to encounter isolated pieces of content rather than a cohesive body of work, which reduces this prominence of singular voices, which is often what people are looking for right now. In Kierkegaard's assertion that the crowd is untruth, the crowd is no longer this physical gathering, but it's a more diffuse aggregation of different content shaped by algorithms and AI and modern trends, rather than an individual personality that you can rally around to form a sense of community. The personality, and with that personality, the authority to command your attention, has become decentralized, and credibility is distributed unevenly across networks of, faceless AI content creators. Overall, the contemporary media landscape seems to be characterized by this abundance, but a lack of hierarchy. There's no stable identities, there's very few consistent creators we can follow, and there's a lot of production without a clear authorship or personality behind it. These conditions contribute to a sort of disengagement and cognitive strain that leads to a diminished sort of capacity to extract enduring meaning and enjoyment from what we're playing and what we're watching. What starts to stand out is what I want to call reactive minimalism. This is supported by Ludwig Wittgenstein's argument that meaning comes from use, from systems that are clear, structured, and understandable, as opposed to the complicated media and gaming landscape we are submerged in now. A lot of people don't want more, they want less, but with higher quality. So how do you get this higher quality? Stoicism and asceticism reflect a long history of rejecting the complexity of modern life. Stoicism began in ancient Greece and became popular in Rome. It taught people to let go of what they can't control and focus what they can, their own thoughts and your own actions. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the first Stoics, wrote, "You have power of your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." By focusing on internal virtues rather than external noise, Stoicism can provide a framework to navigate overwhelming social, gaming, political complexity, prioritizing clarity and resilience over engagement with every external disturbance and trend that comes our way. Similarly, ascetic traditions that can come from Buddhist monks in India all the way to Christians demonstrate systematic withdrawal from sensory and social excess. By limiting possessions, media, and social interaction, practitioners or asceticists sought to reduce the noise of life. The goal was the same as Stoicism, to reduce this noise, this constant input, to focus on the essentials and gain control over your own mind and your own enjoyment. Epictetus, another Stoic, said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Both Stoicism and asceticism can be seen as a way to handle all this sensory overload we're experiencing nowadays. By choosing what we can pay attention to and cutting out distraction, people can stay focused, calm, and clear, and you can gain more enjoyment when media and even the games you want to play to relax can feel complicated and overwhelming. So am I saying that if you play Skyblock, you're basically a Buddhist monk? Yes and no. Obviously there are differences, and this is just a game, but these minimalist challenges allow for a personality to shine through, and their popularity shows people's desire for a clean start, to begin again. I would also be remiss to ignore the role nostalgia plays. It has definitely become more mainstream recently, and this is not a new observation in terms of sociology or gaming in general. The people's desire for beta-style gameplay is a natural part of growing up in a completely overwhelming world and media landscape. What made Minecraft stand out from its peers on release was its simplicity. It rejected the trend of realism, of modernization, and of complex mechanics. Like Gary's Mod or Roblox later on, it provided a sandbox for people to explore their creativity and build relationships with their friends in a simple online environment. So many friendships were built on the backs of late nights and weekends spent mining and building in little private servers. Using the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia, we can see how the simplicity appeals to many people. So what comes next? Maybe next time you boot up Minecraft for your 3-week phase with your friends, give each other a challenge. No running, no jumping. Try and get as many achievements as possible before beating the Ender Dragon. I promise these challenges and the restrictions they pose and the creative solutions you'll have to come up with to conquer them will create a much more enriching experience and make the moment when you finally beat that Ender Dragon so much more satisfying. But hey, it's just a game. If you made it this far into the video, I cannot thank you enough for watching. This was something I've been thinking about for a while, and I didn't know what would be the best format for discussing it. This has been a different video from what I usually make, so if you enjoyed it, I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe, as it really helps me with the algorithm. But anyways, thanks for watching.